My name is McElrath, and I am 35 years old. I found out I had hypertension around the age of 34, and just last year or so I've been having visits to the hospital, emergency room visits for a headache, serious debilitating headaches. Thought it was a sinus headache, thought I had sinus infections and things of that nature, but it didn't come down to that. It was just the fact that my blood pressure was extremely high, and I wasn't taking care of my diet or any activity whatsoever. Throughout the course of my life, as a young man, I would have headaches, and it would be attributed to different things, and it was not necessarily attributed to blood pressure issues. So I would, as a young man, take several different medications. I had asthma when I was a young kid too, and I wasn't that active. I wasn't an athlete. I wasn't out working, landscaping with my friends, or doing yard work or anything like that I could think of. I stayed in the house. I was a bookworm, things like that. And at the same time, video games came into play. So I would just be very sedentary, very much in the house, not too active. And then I wouldn't eat the right things. I was a snacker. I was very much a very serious snacker, to the point where I would ruin my appetite for dinner, things like that. I really didn't have a set schedule as far as our breakfast, lunch, and dinners. So it was very erratic, and my diet was very erratic, my activity was very erratic, and I didn't do much. So I don't know what it was attributed to, but I just found out a couple years ago, and it really struck a chord in me, and I did decide to be a little bit more active. And from what I understand, it's been high in my family, and I don't think that my parents knew, but they kind of accepted it. They said, "Oh, this is high for us. This is hereditary." So there was no alarm, no red light, or any kind of red flag or anything. It was just, this is how it is. And I said, I don't really want it to be like this. I don't want to have headaches to the point where I'm calling in to work, or I can't move, or I can't breathe, and things like that. So coming into the ER for the last time last year, they did look into the blood pressure medication, which has lowered it significantly. It's still a little bit high. It was a regular day, from what I could tell. It wasn't a stressful day at work. It wasn't a day where I had too much to eat or too little to eat. I can pretty much keep the same kind of diet throughout the day. Didn't overeat, but just kind of came home, laid down, and when I woke up, I really couldn't articulate much. I couldn't move my limbs, like my hands, and I felt a little numb. And so that numbness kind of made me panic, and then I began to hyperventilate. And so for me, it's like, oh, what's going on? My brother brought me to the ER. I was waiting in the ER, the waiting room for a little while. I got in there, and they did take my vitals through the triage area. It was pretty high. I want to say 190, 100, over 100 or something like that, something really high. And I really didn't know what was going on, because I'm sort of almost unconscious. My hand is still numb, I'm still kind of hyperventilating, I'm still kind of panicky. I finally get into a bed, and they give me an IV of saline, just something to flush whatever it is that could be in my system out. So sometimes, I feel like it could just run its course. But I took a nap, I woke up in the ER, and then the doctor came and saw me and said that your blood pressure is abnormal. It's very high for your age group, for your weight, for your height, everything that makes me who I am. That blood pressure doesn't match the person that I am. So after the doctor just shared that with me, I thought to change my lifestyle a little bit. I joined a group that works out, a little more active lifestyle. Started drinking more water. That's one thing that I did not do prior. I used to drink a lot of pops and juices. I'm taking my medication as prescribed right now. I take it every morning, diazetam, and I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I always mispronounce it, but I take it every morning, drink lots of water, and I try my best not to eat junk food. like I normally used, like I did when I was a kid. You know, I still had the same habits. I'm a young man, I'm single, I'm hanging out, I'm going to parties, I'm going to grab a quick bite to eat here and there, and then that might impact my health. Of course it does, but then as far as my blood pressure is concerned, I want to maintain it. So I try to eat, you know, prepare my food, eat on a regular schedule, and I take my medication every day. I take it with my vitamins. I take multivitamins and I take vitamin D, and I do that in the morning and then go about the rest of my day, and I haven't had any problems since. It's been a year since that visit. It wasn't difficult for me to make the changes because when I see there's a problem, I want to fix it. I don't, especially when it comes to my health, my ability to do the things that I need to do as a young person. As a young man, I don't want to have any issues in the, you know, later on down the road. So I want to try to prevent anything else that could happen. So it wasn't difficult at all. I really believe that in Detroit, in many urban areas, there aren't a lot of fresh food choices. There's not a lot of supermarkets. There are tons of fast food joints on every corner. There's lots of, in Detroit, it's Coney Island. We love Coney Islands. And, you know, I used to be a pizza guy. I love pizza too. So it's a lot of choices, but it's not the healthy choices. And the activities, there's not a lot of playgrounds in Detroit like it used to be. So, you know, friends used to meet up on the playgrounds. I didn't do that much, and there wasn't many to choose from. So I think it's the activities and the food options that are in the urban area that play a very big role in the hypertension of African American men and women. The first thing that I would say is to communicate with one another, support one another. That's number one, because if we're together, we feel stronger, we feel more able to make those changes that seem so tough. If we have to give up, you know, a certain diet, you know, if we're doing it by ourselves, maybe your family can do it with you. That makes it better. That's the first thing I would say, just communicating and sharing the support of one another. And the second thing I would say is to really take courage. A lot of the men were older, and they had a lot of fear. They had a lot of the pain from the past of what they've learned. But we have to push forward, and we have to learn from the past, but we can't let it control us. So we have to communicate. We have to take courage and take heart and push through, you know, this situation, and then just love one another, you know, because some people say, and this is kind of funny, you know, you get mad at somebody, you're raising my blood pressure. You know, it's like, if everybody's all angry at each other, then we're not going to be healthy. So we have to learn to love each other and just, I think that take care of each other. And then that way we could probably, you know, beat this thing, you know. I'm the oldest of 4, and I have to be an example to my siblings. And I'm also an uncle. And I love my niece, and I'm like, I want to be around to see her. I don't want to die young from anything. I want to have a full life. And so that scare really put in perspective that I need to take care of myself better. I'm not indestructible, and whatever I do, there is a consequence. You know, you're not just gonna, you know, just eat everything and it's gonna work out. Like, you know, you see that on TV every now and then, but behind the scenes, they're in pain. Some people are doing things, and I just learned that I have to take better care of myself because there is so much at stake. You know, and I'm still so young, and I still have a lot of life to live. So I didn't want to risk that. I want to make sure that I get that opportunity to be a father, to be a grandfather, and live that full life.